Today I'm going to show you the strangest tomato trellis you've probably ever seen. We'll be right back. Welcome to Cathy's Eclectic Garden. I'm Cathy and I garden in Zone 5B and 6A. Today we're going to look at my tomato trellis. This originally was going to be a triangular shaped trellis, but we couldn't find the proper connections to get the angles right, so we had to opt for a rectangular shaped trellis. When we started thinking about the design of this trellis, there were two things that we were looking for. One was that it would be somewhat permanent, or semi-permanent, but that we could also be able, if necessary, to move it and have it be a little more portable. For stability, we decided to construct this out of metal bars, or metal tubing it is, and this is 1/2-inch tubing, and the connectors, to get the angles right at the top, we have a T connector and a 90-degree connector to get that corner. And it is 6.5 feet long, which is a 7.5 feet long, which is a 6-foot 1/2-inch pipe connected to an 18-inch 1/2-inch connector. And you could make this any dimensions you want. You could make it 4 by 6. Ours is 4 foot wide, and you could make it. You could get an 8-foot pipe. We couldn't fit an 8-foot pipe in our car, so. We don't have a truck, so that's why we went with this 1.5 feet. So we've got those all connected together to make a 7.5 foot by 4 foot rectangular area. I plant in pots, and so our uprights to make this frame are 6-foot poles with the 1.5 foot extension, so they're also 7 foot high. But instead of putting those into the ground, we put them directly into the pots where my tomatoes are planted. That way, if we do need to move it, we don't have to dig them out of the ground, we just take them out of the pot, and it's a lot easier to move. My main gardening objective is native pollinator plants, and so all of my native plants are in ground, which takes up pretty much most of my gardening space. So I plant my vegetable garden in pots. I've got all of these pots here for my tomato and pepper plants, and then I have 2 raised beds where I grow other vegetables in, and a few pots that I grow squash in. In my vegetable garden, I practice companion planting, and I do that to ward off harmful insects and pests. And this, with my tomatoes, I always plant basil, which is here, and marigolds that are back here. I also companion plant for like plants. I've got peppers and tomatoes growing together. As the tomatoes get tall, they help shade the peppers later in the season, so they don't get too much sun. To trellis my tomatoes, I use these. They're called tomato hooks, and I've got a hook onto my wire up here that gives me something to hook the tomato hook to, and this is wrapped with a twine. And you just wrap it around the stalk of the plant as it goes up, and when it gets to the top, you drop it down. So you just turn your hook over, let down a length of string, put your hook back in, and then this will just drop down. Gotta wrap it around here again. And then as the top gets heavier, the bottom part will drop down. For several days this summer, earlier in the summer, in fact I think it was maybe for a couple of weeks, we had some extremely high temperatures for this area. We were up near 100 degrees for several days in a row, and my tomato plants were starting to look pretty bad. So one of the nice things about this trellis was we were able to just take this shade cloth and drape it over both sides and clamp it to the poles, and it made it probably 10 degrees cooler inside there. I mean, it was noticeably cooler if you walked inside it. And as the temperature started going back down again, I was afraid the plants weren't going to get enough sunlight, so I took the shade cloth off of the south side so that we could get some sunshine in there, but left this on the north side so it still provided some shade late in the afternoon when that hot afternoon sun hits this area. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Join us again for the next one. Bye.